Principal photography began on the 9th of August 2009. The cast and crew had just a 6-week window in which to build the set, shoot every scene for which they needed it, and then take it down again.
We had this big old Panasonic camera, so one of those almost big shoulder mounted ones. It looked brilliant, which I originally showed to Dan and said, "Here, we're going to use this," which was great. And then we actually came to shooting it and I managed to get an even better one. We shot it on DVC Pro tapes, which was at the time basically almost broadcast quality. At the very end of episode 1, I remember watching the camera just go over on the tripod, and there's a great shot of me and Dan as the camera's just dropping in the background.
There were some long nights. I think the cast did very well, so thank you for everyone who gave up their time to come and shoot.
Absolutely.
No, I love doing it. Whenever it's finished, I want to do it again, but then when it's happening, it drives me mad. It's been good fun.
When I've actually been here, yes, I've probably been your most elusive member of the cast, haven't I? But yes, it's been good fun.
Oh, it was great fun. Yeah, it was great fun.
So once we were finished on the bridge, we
shuffled stuff around.
Took some of the bits down, moved the walls around just to create this kind of
an L shape, wasn't it? To the back end of a room.
And we used that, I think, for your cabin.
Yeah, used it for the cabin scene.
Transit nav room.
Yeah.
And the briefing room.
And the briefing room, that was the big one.
To help sell the illusion that these were different parts of the ship, Daniel would adjust the colour of the footage for each room. Red for the bridge, a warm yellow for the cabin, and a cold blue for the briefing room. Their inexperience as filmmakers increased the time spent in production as they struggled with equipment, noise and schedules.
You can hear cars driving past outside.
We're under a flight path.
Aeroplanes.
There's a train station about a 30-second walk away.
So we just had to stop and wait for it.
We just stopped. But yeah, trying to get the boom mic into people's faces without it being in shot and setting it all up as cables.
Towards the end, I think the final scene, we hastily sketched out.
Yeah, it was more camera angles that was the problem, wasn't it? Trying to get people in or not in the shot.
Yeah.
Basically.
When you make a film, always storyboard it.
Absolutely.
Lesson learned.
And you're like, no, we don't need a storyboard. I was like, sure?
My thinking was, we'll get everyone together at the same time, put them on the set, we've got a script, we'll just go through the script,
just shoot it.
See what happens.
No. No.
No, never do that. Never do that.
Oops.
When we started shooting Fallen Star, my then girlfriend, because she's an amateur actress, she said, you must have makeup on because with all the lights it washes you out, you must have makeup on. Yes, apparently you were supposed to wear eyeliner, so on wear the eyeliner. I look like something out of the 80s. It was pretty shocking when I look back at the footage now. I think there's one particular shot where I'm a bit tired looking and I've got these black eyes. The most challenging and most difficult part of the role was, for me, lines. But it wasn't intentional. I did go away and actually look at the lines and learn them, but as soon as that camera was on me, it was just like it was some sort of weird laser beam just erasing my mind.
The most challenging part of my role was remembering the lines.
Saying the words in the right order.
Reading the lines and then saying them in the right order. All the words were there, you know, it's this old famous Walk and Wire sketch. The ropes are all there, man, not necessarily in the right order.
Dying convincingly was definitely very difficult. And I really needed that half bottle of tequila again.
Right.
Do I have to like clutch my chest?
It's not easy to die on camera.
It's not easy.
To fall down dead.
The Russian accent was pretty bad, pretty difficult to do. I have no idea how to do a Russian accent.
I believe I will stay here, sir. It would be disloyal of me to abandon my captain.
The most challenging part of my role as Jett Logan was doing the American accent and saying the word orbit without sounding like Kermit the Frog.
Your ship's in orbit?
Your ship's in orbit?
Having to portray a love interest with someone that I'm very close to and who is one of my best friend's husbands. I'm always making little whimpering noises.
The props that were used on Fallen Star, just after I created this data pad, they appeared on the market, known as the iPad. I think they saw Fallen Star and stole the idea, personally. Nothing to do with Star Trek at all.
We obviously had to keep it cheap. Our data pads are bits of cardboard with black tape wrapped around them.
And of course, the classic communicator, which I believe Nick used on the first episode, although I think he went like that. which kind of amused me.
Jenkins to Britannic.
I had to use the old materialiser, whatever they call it. Yeah, it's gone out of my head. Beam me up, Scotty.
I dish out the death rays. They've got a death end and the other end, and you point the death end at the bad guys and the other end at not the bad guys, and things generally work out well.
Oh, it doesn't make any noise anymore. It used to, and Dan got annoyed with that.
I'll take the batteries out.
No, I didn't use any props. I don't need props for performing.
I'm the one who gets to fly the ship, so I've got buttons and I've got levers, and it's great fun.
Lots of buttons to play with, you know, push stuff.
I said, can I do this one again, because I wanted to press a different button. Kind of like Doctor Who, where he says what all the buttons do, but I wasn't that thorough.
We had some more phaser guns, which the Americans used.
They were water pistols, bright blue and orange water pistols, and we sprayed them black and metallic grey. £1 from the pound shop.
I did actually fire off a couple of rounds into a firing range. We were trained. Safety first.
The outdoor scenes for Fallen Star had to be delayed until the spring of 2010 due to the weather. While this was a significant delay, Daniel took full advantage of the downtime to make headway on the film's visual effects.
For instance, all of the computer screens that you see in the background on the bridge, all the graphics had to be put on in post-production. We've got people walking in front of them, we've got people with their heads and their hands right in front of the screens, which is a bit annoying because it meant I had to kind of draw around it frame by frame.
One of the first shots that we really wanted to do was we wanted to go through the window. We wanted a shot of the ship on the outside, and then the camera just goes straight in through the window to reveal everybody on the bridge. We mounted the camera on a piece of cardboard or an old rug with a bit of string attached to it, and we dragged it. Took us a couple of attempts. There's a nice shot of my backside, I think, somewhere wobbling around. And with Dan's sort of know-how, you can see it in the first episode, and it looks absolutely brilliant. I still like watching that part.
Now, of course, we can't have the entire episode just set on the bridge, so we knew early on that we would have to use some manner of set extension. There's plenty of other parts of the ship, there's corridors, the transit nav room that needed to be virtual. So we made the decision early on that, yeah, we're going to have to do a bit of green screen. But we tried to limit it as much as possible. We tried to do as much on a real set as we could, because we spent all that time making it. It would be a waste not to do that.
I like the mechanical doors that we use. They took a lot of skill building. Rob's actually a dab hand at hydraulics, so that was pretty cool.
Our sliding doors aren't real. It's all done with visual effects. Sorry to shatter that illusion.
Thank you, All Media Works, for the use of your green screen. I say use, extensive use of your green screen. Without that equipment, there was no way ever that we could have done what we've done. Well, especially the first episode. They supplied us with the rather hefty camera and the tripod and all the bits and bobs that went with it. So a big thank you to Chris Faulkner, Genevieve Allen and All Media Works.
We did a few test videos beforehand. Rob standing on the bridge of a ship doing a dance. I think the two of us standing on a planet being beamed away. You know, just to see if it would work. The other fantastic thing about green screen is you can get around production problems and scheduling problems. We didn't even have enough costumes for everybody, so at some point we would shoot Jenny in costume and then we would have to send her away and then get Charlotte in to wear the same costume and then put her in the background so it looked like they're both there at the same time, and it was just crazy.
To facilitate the visual effect shots, and without professional camera equipment and operators, Fallen Star had to be shot with a very static style, so Robert was excited about getting outdoors for the remainder of the shoot.
The good things about outside, you've got natural lighting, you've got lots of space, you can run around, you can make every shot look different, just move the camera a bit and you've got a different set of trees, so it all looks like you've moved around lots, whereas only sort of a small section of woods where you can shoot in.
We had a few schedule problems again. Certain cast members turning up quite late.
Yeah, we had to get it all shot in that evening because we didn't have another opportunity.
No.
But you worked your magic on that one.
Well, I was sort of mulling it over. I had this idea in my head. I want to do a prologue. I want Captain Logan to appear at the beginning. sort of made a kind of sense to set that up first. Originally, episode 1 was going to open in Knight's cabin, getting up, walking onto the bridge. That was going to be the opening.
Yeah.
But it was a late decision to change that.
And a good decision, I think.
And the other thing, of course, was it only needed me and you to film it, and you know it's going to be quite quick, sort of a one day shoot. So we thought, yeah, we'll do that.
We actually used a Steadicam for that, and I'd never ever really properly used a Steadicam with the sort of body harness you got on, and you attach the camera and it all comes up here and the camera sits on this bit and you can turn it and move everything just using your fingers, which is great until you start running with it, and then the wind just catches it and it just starts wafting and moving and turning, and it was hell actually. It was great fun, but oh, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what we can get away with at the time. You know, I can do a ship flying through space, but I couldn't do explosions and...
Exactly, just showing ships flying.
Yeah.
And that was it.
The opening shot, when you first see the Britannic, that took 4 days to render.
But the most arduous aspect of post-production was still to come.
This does all sound jolly important, sir. In which case, we won't let you down.
I remember I was listening to the sound of the dialogue through my headphones, and it just dawned on me that the sound quality was just terrible, basically.
Alright, Knight, just count yourself lucky you're out of comms range of HQ. They totally back me up over this.
So you've got echo in most of the shots, you've got a constant buzz of the fluorescent lights overhead. I would try to dub some of it. So I did a few test lines. I recorded myself into the microphone, tried to synchronise the dialogue to match the original, put it back into the film.
Alright, Knight, just count yourself lucky we're out of comms range of HQ. They totally back me up over this.
It was great, but then of course everything else sounded terrible in comparison, so that's when we realised that we're just going to have to dub basically the whole thing, which was a mammoth undertaking.
When Dad said to me about dubbing lines, I thought, that's going to be intense. The way we did it is, well, Dan had taken each section of line and just put it as a WAV file, and would play it back, and you'd just say the line over and over again, and you'd record 4 or 5 different ones of those, and whichever one was the best one, Dan would insert into the footage.
Activate the view screen and magnify. A space station? You do you fucking...
Elmo says shield emitters are at 11%.
Okay, we gotta stop.
One of the good things about being able to dub over it is that you can fix some of the mistakes that you may have made. Nick's character Jenkins is on the intercom telling Humphreys to meet them in the transit nav room, but that doesn't actually happen in the episode. It changed slightly, and instead he has to meet them by the armory or the weapons locker. So we were able to change that in the edit, and because Nick's got his head facing slightly away from the camera, we're able to fix it. And there's a few other things we could add lines and tweak things slightly, as long as the actor's mouth isn't visible.
Humphreys, meet me in the transnav room.
Humphreys, meet me by the armory.
At this point, the film was entering its final stages and was almost ready for its screening. There were just a few finishing touches to go, including finding a suitable soundtrack.
Believe it or not, we're not composers or
No,
musicians.
I tried learning, but apparently 30 years of composing can't happen in a night.
I can whistle.
That's about it, really.
But we needed music, so we had to sort of find and borrow bits of soundtracks from films and TV
movies,
shows.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of cheesy Star Trek music in there, which is... But I think some of the choices are quite inspired. I quite like the use of Holt's The Planet Suite.
Yes.
David Bowie, I thought worked really well for a title sequence.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of a song. I mean, I like the song. It's a good song. It's about space. It's kind of, it has different sections to it. So you've got a bit that sounds like end titles music, and you've got a bit that sounds like opening titles music, and I thought it just worked really well. And now whenever I hear that song, I think
it's Fallen Star. Yeah.
Fallen Star's first episode, which finally released under the name The American Invasion, was finished in October 2010 and was screened the following month on the 19th of November to an audience of more than 50 people, consisting of friends, family and newly acquired fans. By this point, a batch of DVDs had been produced for the audience to take home, and the film shortly thereafter found its way onto YouTube and the project's Facebook page.
I think people were quite excited to see it.
Because they'd heard a lot about it, we'd seen bits on Facebook, photos popping up.
I mean, fair play, it had been 18 months since we started it, so there was a lot of hype.
Yeah.
The journey had taken Daniel and Robert approximately 18 months from conception to finished product, and cost in the region of £300. But little did they expect that the adventure was just beginning.
And I think people were asking, is there going to be a second episode? And we turned around and blatantly said to them, no. That was hell. I had great fun, but no, it was hell.
Never again.
Ever. No. Ever.